Wintertime is finally here. It's time to break out those heavy, woody, woody, spicy fragrances that you guys love so much. The fragrances that are going to keep you warm in this nice cold weather. And this year I can actually say cold weather because we got some snow in Florida. I know a lot of you guys have been looking forward to those winter fragrances, so let's break them out. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Jredlamar, and we are gathered here today to talk about some fragrances, more specifically those winter fragrances. Before we get into it, make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell down below so you can be notified of all of my upcoming videos. In addition to YouTube, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Jredlamar. Now let's get to it. So today we're going to discuss my top fragrances for the winter time. Not your top, but my top. Starting things off, we have Bond number 9, Nomad. Now this is going to be a sweet, fruity rose oud fragrance. And what separates this one from most rose oud fragrances are going to be those sweet fruits that you get here. This fragrance is going to have a heavier pear note that's accompanied by blackcurrant and some quince. There's some amber and vanilla here that adds a warmness and also furthers that sweetness that you got from the fruits. I literally got compliments the first time I wore this fragrance. If you're somebody that don't want to be noticed out in public, stay away from this fragrance because it is a beast mode projecting fragrance. I know Bond number 9 has a reputation of having good fragrances that don't really last or project, but this is not one of them. This one is beast mode. It's very pleasant fragrance. Just go easy on the sprays. Our next fragrance is from the house of City Rhythm, and this one is Manhattan Midnight. Now this is one of the newer fragrances from City Rhythm. This is going to be a beautiful, unique, sweet, spicy tobacco scent. It has similarities to the OG Manhattan, but think of this as a more heavier elixir version of that one. You're going to get some tobacco leaf, vanilla, rock rose, frankincense, myrrh, pimento pepper, and a tea note. And as I mentioned before, this fragrance has a sweetness to it. Think like a candied sweetness. As expected of City Rhythm fragrances, you're going to get beast mode projection and performance with this one. It's going to last all days. You're not going to need a lot of sprays. And the best part of this fragrance, the blue juice. Our next fragrance is going to be Viktor & Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme. This is another sweet, spicy fragrance with heavy emphasis on the spices. This one's going to give you tobacco, vanilla, cinnamon, cumin, saffron, and bourbon whiskey. This is going to be a loud, strong, sexy fragrance. Very spicy, but it has that vanillic sweetness here to balance it out. Beast mode fragrances. I can say with confidence that this is the best flanker from the Spice Bomb line. Moving on, our next fragrance is Azzaro's Most Wanted Parfum. Now this fragrance is sexy. This is a sweet, spicy, woody fragrance with a simple breakdown, but it still smells so amazing. They only give you 3 notes here. It's going to be some ginger, woody notes, and bourbon vanilla. And it's that bourbon vanilla that's going to stand out here. A lot of people say that this has a grape soda smell to it, which makes you believe that there's more to this 3-note breakdown. Or maybe it's just that bourbon vanilla here that just gives it that type of smell. Regardless, this is a lovely, sexy fragrance. I get tons of compliments with this one right here. A lot of people like to go back and forth between this one and the Wanted EDP Intense. They're trying to see which is better, but if you ask me, this one is much better. This one is more unique. I believe the EDP Intense is just super sweet and better for a younger crowd. It definitely smells like this one has more going on with it. That's why I say go with Most Wanted Parfum. Lovely fragrance. Our next fragrance is going to be Valentino Uomo Intense. Now this one is going to be a discontinued gem that's not too hard to find. It still pops up on discounters every now and then, but officially it's a discontinued fragrance. This is going to be a sweet, spicy, powdery leather fragrance. Now the notes that's going to stick out here are going to be the iris, vanilla, leather, and tonka bean. And that iris note is going to stick out the most here, giving the fragrance a powderiness. It opens up with mandarin orange and clary sage, giving this fragrance a citric, aromatic type of opening. It is a very masculine fragrance fragrance. When people talk about powdery men's fragrance, they usually mention Valentino Uomo Intense, Dior Homme Intense, and also Dior Homme Parfum. Usually one of those three that gets mentioned is notoriously known for that powdery iris note. But it's very nice, very sweet. That leather note gives it a type of masculine edge to it that makes it really nice. Again, unfortunately, it's discontinued, but like I said, it pops up on discounters every now and then. So if you can find it, I suggest pick it up. A lot of people consider this one the best in the line. Our next fragrance is going to be from Armani, and this one's going to be Stronger With You. Absolutely. This is going to be an amazing vanilla, woody, nutty, boozy fragrance. Your standout notes here are going to be Madagascar vanilla, rum, chestnut, and some woody notes. This is a sweet fragrance, but not overly sweet. Not as sweet as you would get with Stronger With You Intensely. This one dials back that sweetness and adds a boozy nuttiness to it. It's that rum and chestnut that give this one an older, mature man type of vibe. I think this one is way better than what you'd find with Intensely, although that one is great as well. This is a nice, cozy fragrance that's perfect for the cool weather. I like to wear this one around Christmas time. It reminds you of chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It is a lovely fragrance that I highly recommend. Our next fragrance is from Givenchy, and this one is Gentleman EDP Reserve Privé, and that is a very long name. This is going to be a masculine, powdery, woody, boozy, nutty fragrance. This fragrance is going to give you some powdery iris, whiskey, woods, chestnut, some amber, and bergamot, although I don't really get too much bergamot in this fragrance. If you're a lover of heavy iris, powdery fragrances like Dior Homme Parfum Intense or Valentino Uomo Intense, think that type of scent profile, but add some chestnut and whiskey here, making this a super masculine scent, a very sexy scent that's perfect for the winter time. This one is definitely going to give you some grown man vibes. And as I mentioned this fragrance a few times already, our next fragrance is going to be Dior Homme Parfum. Once again, another amazing discontinued fragrance. But again, it pops up on discounters every now and then. You just got to be on the lookout for it. This is a powdery, woody leather fragrance. It's super masculine. This is going to be the manliest of man fragrances that's out there. This one's going to give you a heavy, powdery iris note, lots of woods, a leather note, slight musk and florals here. Of the notoriously powdery designer fragrances, this one is going to be the most powdery. This fragrance has a thick, dry powderiness that a lot of people compare to the smell of lipstick. And this fragrance has great performance. Again, this one is discontinued. I know they came out with a 2025 version that smells much different from this one. It's much more sweeter, a lot more mass appealing, a lot more juvenile. So if you do find Dior Homme Parfum 2025, I'm letting you know right now, it's not going to smell like the OG Parfum. This one right here is a classic. Moving right along, our next fragrance is going to be from Gucci, and this one is Intense Oud. This is going to be another fragrance that's discontinued, but it pops up on discounters every now and then, and it's not really that hard to find. So this fragrance is going to be a oud leather spicy scent with some fruity undertones. Now, although this one has a oud note and is called Intense Oud, I'm here to let you know it is not an intense oud. It is a mass appealing, very likable oud that doesn't stink, doesn't really stick out like that, and it has some fruitiness to kind of balance it out and make it more of a pleasing fragrance. This one's going to have oud, leather, and saffron, but it's the fragrances, raspberry, and pear that's going to make this one a little fruity, little sweeter, and make this more approachable. It's the fruits in this one that separates this from the other designer ouds, and it's also the fruits that make this more of a likable, more approachable fragrance. I would say it's one of the best designer ouds that you can buy, assuming you can find a bottle. And on top of all of that, look at this sexy bottle we have here. Moving along, our next fragrance is going to be Tom Ford Noir Extreme. So this is a sweet, warm, spicy vanilla fragrance. This one's going to have a lot of spices. It's going to go heavy on the spices. You're going to get some cardamom, nutmeg, and saffron, and a host of florals. There's also some vanilla, some woods, and some amber here. But there's a kulfi note here that's going to make this fragrance stand out and give this fragrance its unique identity. And if you don't know, kulfi is a traditional Indian ice cream. It's a sweet vanilla ice cream with some cardamom and pistachio added to it. This is a dark, spicy, mass masculine fragrance with some sweetness added to it. It's one of those fragrances that could definitely pass as a niche fragrance. And last but not least, our final fragrance is going to be the hype beast, none other than Initio's Side Effect. Now this fragrance get a ton of hype, and the hype is actually warranted, I cannot lie. And it's a very simple scent, but also very sexy and very seductive. This is a warm, spicy, boozy tobacco fragrance. Your standout notes here are going to be rum, tobacco, cinnamon, saffron, and sandalwood. There's also a floral hedione note here, but I don't really get too much of that. It's that rum, cinnamon, tobacco, saffron that's going to stand out here. This is also a fragrance that's perfect for date night. This is a fragrance you wear if you want to stand out. It has good performance. If you're trying to be seductive, sexy, alluring, trying to catch somebody's attention, highly recommend getting your hands on Initio's Side Effect. If you're trying to impress somebody, pick this one up. So that's going to be it for today. Those were my top fragrances for the winter time. A lot of fragrances worth looking into, worth sampling, worth picking up. I know a lot of people love the winter fragrances because they're usually the heavier, deeper, richer ones, and a lot of people consider them the most unique. But anyways, those were my top fragrances. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell down below so you can be notified of all of my upcoming videos. In addition to YouTube, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Jredlamar. Once again, my name is Jredlamar, and until next time, spray something.